folks, what's going on there? It's Once a Future Gamer here, and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. So last week, we took on Pokemon Heart Gold with a single Regigigas, a challenge that went pretty well, right up until the Lance fight. Check out the card for a link to the video if you've not already done so. This week, let's try something that is hopefully a whole lot simpler. We take on Pokemon Red and answer the question of whether or not I can beat it with a single Clefairy. Clefairy is the 125th best Pokemon in Gen 1 with a pre-special split BST of 258. Slightly better than Oddish, Psyduck and Abra, slightly worse than Poliwag, Mankey and Pikachu. In this game it's pure normal, so immune to Ghost and weak to fighting. No Fairy type in this gen. On the plus side, it means we can laugh at poison types, unless they poison us. The only attacking moves we get via level up are normal types. Only Pound and Double Slap cause direct damage, and given Double Slap is trash in every sense of the word, I guess Clefairy is going to be pounding away all night long. We do get Metronome, but that's rather let down by the fact that it's Metronome. That said, we do get access to a lot of TM moves. Most of them cover good areas as well. Body Slam, Bubble Beam, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Psychic, Solar Beam, Fire Blast, Submission. These are all pretty solid move options. Predictions for this run then. How horrible is Brock going to be at the start? I wonder what level we'll have to be to get past the first gym and how much grinding we'll need. Metronome isn't until level 31, so hopefully it won't be at that level. Being honest, once we get some good TM moves under our belt, I can't see us struggling versus any of the other gyms. Maybe Koga will be his obnoxious self, maybe Lorelei might be awkward at the end, perhaps Bruno and Agatha could provide problems. Probably the biggest challenge we face will come from the rival. If you do enjoy what you see here, then please don't forget to like and subscribe, maybe even drop a comment if you're so inclined. Just the rules then. In combat, I can only use Clefairy. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs, but not permitted to fight. There's no held items in this gen, so Pokeballs are the only items allowed to be used in battle, but outside of combat, I can heal as much as I like. Last of all, no glitches or exploits that I have any sort of control over. Using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, I replaced Squirtle with Clefairy, meaning I can do the whole run with it. I picked Squirtle because I figured Venusaur might be the hardest for us to fight. Just a feeling, there's probably not too much in it if I'm honest, just like the challenge last week. I named the Clefairy Carey. We then fight Rod and his Bulbasaur, but Carey steamrollers it into the middle of next week, hitting it with a series of pound attacks, even as it really only fights back with Growl. Anyway, it goes down eventually and I move on, heading to do a bit of grinding on Route 1 because I figure I'll need it. Brock is going to be brutal. I can see I'll probably have to be at least level 20 before I can do it. Maybe anyway, we'll have to see. I keep at it. I think the Clefairy got named in honour of the Clefairy I used as a starter in Pokemon Blazing Emerald. Might be why that name resonated with me. We do the Oak's Parcel side quest and get the Pokedex, listening to more of Oak's propaganda about how he invented the Pokedex, ignoring the contributions of those guys in Hisui all those years ago. I grind a bit more in the forest before going back to have another fight with Rod at level 12. This fight is annoying thanks to Sand Attack from the Pidgey. I take it down in 3 hits, but the damage is done. Against the Bulbasaur, I miss a stupid amount of times and it lands Leech Seed on Carey. Also, it used Growl repeatedly to wreck Carey's attack stat. If it weren't for 2 fortunate crits, we could have lost this fight. Let's get stronger and go tackle Brock. Arceus knows what level I'll have to beat him. I make a stab at level 18 when I get Double Slap. It'll be useful if he starts spamming hardened moves because we can hit him for more damage. This is a long fight, I mean it, very long. Our only attacks are resisted and he uses full heals. Whenever we try to put him to sleep, he uses full heals. Geodude takes most of our Double Slap PP, even after we wreck its attack with Growl. When it goes down, things don't get much easier as Onix shows up, and this is scary if you don't have water or grass attacks. I wreck its attack and try to keep it asleep. I thought I could interrupt Bide with sleep, turns out Gen 1 doesn't work that way. Anyway, eventually, Brock runs out of full heals, and with Onix asleep and helpless, Carey continues to pound on it. Maybe I should get him a tiny jackhammer and a hard hat. Anyway, eventually, believe it or not, I actually did this first attempt. Yeah, I was surprised too. I'll accept it though and move on. Never look a gift ponytail in the mouth. 1 badge down. Okay then, so we travel along Route 3 and Mount Moon, and in there I get the Water Gun TM, and we suddenly have no fear from rock types. Carey has Lethal Spit, and he's not afraid to use it. In Mount Moon there's a choice between the Helix and the Dome Fossil. What, you want me to tell you what I picked? Helix, not that it makes a difference. With that, it's not long before we make it to Cerulean City, and there's another choice between the rival and Misty. I picked to go for Misty first. Carey isn't bad special-wise, so we might be able to tank her Bubble Beams quite well. Plus, we hit level 27 after the gym trainers, and I have minimised, so let's cheese that, I guess. I minimise 4 times and then start to pound at Staryu, who lands a tackle for minimal damage but doesn't hit us again. Starmie hits a tackle but plenty of its other attacks go wide as Carey continues to pound away on it. We've not got that much of a level gap, but I'm still surprised by how much damage we do. Anyway, the starfish falls, we take the second badge and move on. What is more useful is the bubble beam TM, which I immediately teach to Carey. Water gun was useful for Mount Moon, but it's already outclassed. Let's go tackle Rival Rod then. The Cerulean rival fight is helped out by the fact that Pidgeotto misses Sand Attack. Thank you 256 Glitch. Seriously, that helps a lot. I too hit it with Bubble Beam. We saw on the previous fight that Sand Attack can be brutal here. Abra goes down to Pound, Rattata goes down to Bubble Beam, and finally is Bulbasaur, who also misses an attack, a Leech Seed, and I too hit it with Pound. Let's go move on. It's not too long until we have to fight him again on the SSN after making our way to Vermilion City. Thanks to Carey being level 39, this fight goes smoothly. Pidgeotto is a 2-hit with Bubble Beam, thanks to him healing it with a potion. He never attacked, and crucially, never Sand attacked either. Raticate is 1 hit by Bubble Beam, bye bye Raticate. Kadabra is 1 hit with Pound, while his final Pokemon, Ivysaur, does land a crit tackle, but Carey tanks it like a champ and then smashes it down with 2 pounds. That wasn't too bad, but it's time to move on. Surge is next and I'm not worried. It's the gym puzzle that I hate more than anything else in this gen. I know there's a glitch with it, but I can never recall exactly how it works, so let's just keep rooting around in the trash cans until we find the magic moving buttons. This is probably the most unlikely thing in this game, and take a moment to consider that statement. I actually do it pretty quick and first time this time, but it's not always the case. I've known this puzzle to take me 5 to 10 minutes at a time. Anyway, Surge isn't too bad. Voltorb goes down to Bubble Beam and Pound. Pikachu goes down to a single pound. Raichu though is a bit of a problem, even with a 16 level advantage, tanking our attacks and paralysing Carey with powerful Thunderbolt attacks. Eventually though, I do take it out and get the 3rd badge, plus as a bonus, the TM for Thunderbolt, which I'm going to teach to Carey. Here's the thing with dungeons in single Pokemon runs. You often can't do it on the first run because of running out of PP, and Rock Tunnel is no exception. There's just enough trainers in there to make it unpleasant. This time though, I don't have problems and make it through to Lavender Town. Ever notice all the cities and towns in Gen 1 are related to art in some way, either with equipment like Palette or Pewter, or colours like Cerulean, Vermilion or Lavender? Anyway, history lesson over, let's face the rival in Pokemon Tower. Given the level advantage I'm starting to build up, it's not a tough fight, as most of his team get 1 hit. Pidgeotto, Gyarados and Kadabra all go down to Carey's Thunderbolt, while Growlithe goes down to Bubble Beam. Ivysaur is the only one who survives an attack, largely because Pound is the best move we've got for it, but contrastingly the worst altogether. It lands Leech Seed, but to no avail as a second Pound crushes it. He will get tougher though. I arrive in Celadon City and have the choice between Giovanni and Erica. Either way, I want the Ice Beam TM at some point, so I figure Giovanni first. I'll be replacing Pound, but it's not like I'll struggle in the Rocket Hideout without Ice Beam. Erica could be tough without it though. The game corner is the area they'd like to forget existed, but alas, it's been established. Giovanni is easy. Onyx and Rhyhorn are both 1 hits with Bubble Beam, as you might guess with them being 4 times weak against it, while Kangaskhan goes down to a single Thunderbolt. I grab the Stealth Scope and figure I'll go see Erica while I'm in town, getting Ice Beam and replacing Pound. Erica really is not a challenge with Ice Beam. Each of her Pokemon go down to a single hit of the move. This might be our final moveset for the game, if I'm honest. Through Pokemon Tower I go, dealing with the Ghost types, and then down to Fuchsia City before I head through the Safari Zone to get Surf. Then I decide to make a move on Koga. One thing I work out from the gym trainers, particularly those who use psychic Pokemon like Hypno and Kadabra, they're pretty resistant to all our special attacks, so it might make Sabrina's gym an interesting time. I did predict Koga might be a challenge. His coughing aren't a problem, they both go down to a single Thunderbolt apiece. Simple enough, Muck survives Thunderbolt though, which isn't good, and promptly poisons us with Poison Gas. That is the most imaginative move name ever in Pokemon, let's be honest. We take it out with Ice Beam though. Weezing takes a Thunderbolt and then blows itself up. Carey tanks a blow well, and that gives us the 6th badge. Saffron or Cinnabar then, that's my choice for the next bit of the game. I figure I'll hit Saffron first, and so I head to Sylph. Time to fight every Rocket Grunt here, because it's not like I can come back and fight them again later if I need to. Then I tackle the rival. You know, I used to think there'd be something significant about the 4 Rocket brothers mentioned here in this area, but I guess not. Anyway, rival Rod fight. Pidgeot is the only one who lands a blow in anger, striking first with Quick Attack before getting struck down with Thunderbolt. Gyarados struck down with Thunderbolt. Growlithe Bubble Beam. Alakazam goes down to 2 Thunderbolts, failing with Disable before Venusaur comes out and immediately gets done in by a crit Ice Beam. That was smooth, bet the next one isn't quite so smooth though. Giovanni is our next fight, and I'm that confident that I don't even heal after the rival fight. I'm right to be confident as our superpowered Clefairy one-hit sweeps his team. Nidorino goes down to Thunderbolt. Kangaskhan quickly goes down to the same move. Rhyhorn goes down to Bubble Beam, and finally, Nidoqueen goes down to Ice Beam. That's Sylph done with then. Just Sabrina to take down and then we'll hit the open seas. She's not too much of a challenge despite what I was worried about earlier. Kadabra does disable our Thunderbolt after we hit it with that move, forcing us to use Ice and Bubble Beam attacks throughout the fight. Venomoth does Poison Carry and Alakazam does land a brutal Psywave attack. I think that's the first time anybody's ever said those words about Psywave, but otherwise we never really look in trouble. Time to go, 6 badges in hand. Blaine is the next major fight, and he's notoriously weirdly programmed in Gen 1. There's no sort of chance for any of those shenanigans in this fight though, as first Growlithe, and then Ponyta, and then Rapidash all go down to a single Bubble Beam. Arcanine though actually survives it and lands a Fire Blast in retaliation, but Carey shrugs it off, steps out of the fire like some sort of little pink Terminator, and then ends it with another Bubble Beam. 7 badges down. Back to Viridian City then in the final gym, the final fight with Giovanni. This is about as hard as the rest of them were. Rhyhorn, Dugtrio and Rhydon all go down to Bubble Beam. Nidoqueen and Nidoking are very quickly dealt with by Ice Beam. Now, we are done with the gym challenge, but not our rival, as he calls us out on Route 22, and I think clearly he hasn't learned his lesson yet, has he? Alakazam aside, the rest of them are all one hit. Pidgeot and Gyarados go down to Thunderbolt. Rhyhorn and Growlithe go down to Bubble Beam. Alakazam keeps using Recover, which is very annoying, but eventually he decides to fight back, at which point Carey summons the lightning one final time and smites it into fiery cinders. Venusaur then gets one hit with Ice Beam. That was a bit of an anticlimax after the Alakazam. I'm not going to complain though, let's move on. The less said about Victory Road, the better, but before long, we're stood in the Indigo Plateau, ready to take on the Pokemon League. Our stats aren't entirely terrible, we've got a bit of a level advantage, so hopefully it's enough to carry us so that we don't have to go and grind some more. We're not using physical attack, so disregard that. 128 in defence is okay, 116 in speed isn't that bad, 157 in special is our best stat, so comments on whether or not you think I can do this at level 78. Let's find out, shall we? Ice Trainer Lorelei is up first. Now this is smooth up until the final 2 Pokemon. Dugong, Cloyster and Slowbro all go down to a single Thunderbolt each. Jinx is tougher, surviving Thunderbolt before I take it down with 2 Bubble Beams after she heals. Where the problem comes is in the shape of Lapras though, as it survives Thunderbolt and then freezes Carey. I might be wrong about this, but in Gen 1 I don't believe you 4 out of freeze like you do in later gens. We don't defrost anyway and Carey goes down. Not a great start, but let's face it, an unlucky one. Second attempt goes much better as we don't get frozen and I duly take Lapras out with 2 Thunderbolts as it goes for Body Slam instead of Blizzard. Even Paralysis wouldn't have been the worst result there, not as bad as Freeze anyway. Bruno is next, and this one is potentially a worry as he has super effective moves against us. Remember, Clefairy is normal type here, not Fairy. Now this fight is pretty straightforward as Carey downs Onix number 1 with Bubble Beam. Both Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee are taken out in one hit with Bubble Beam attacks too. And I have to admit, I was not expecting that. Onix number 2 goes down to Bubble Beam. Machamp survives Bubble Beam and then hits us hard with Submission before we take it out with a second Bubble Beam attack. 2 down. Agatha goes about as badly as it can be, as we can't even knock out her first Gengar. It's faster than us and keeps putting us to sleep with Hypnosis, spamming Dream Eater. It also has Confuse Ray, which even when we do wake up to attack, doesn't help us. Also Nightshade does fixed damage, and getting hit for nearly 60 health when she uses it isn't fun. So, I guess we see if we can mitigate this. I did land an Ice Beam, but it only did half of its health. I'm tempted to go get the Psychic TM if I'm honest. I do, and I grind up a bit on the water routes. At least now, I have a super effective move to take on Gengar. At level 82, I try again. This time I'm faster than Gengar number 1, and 2 hit it with Psychic after she heals. Golbat goes down to Thunderbolt. Haunter and Arbok go down to Psychic. Gengar number 2 is faster than Carey, but she makes the interesting choice to go for Dream Eater while we're awake, and we 2 hit it with Psychic after she heals. Rematch went well then, let's move ourselves on. Lance is last, another one that would be easy if we were Fairy type. Oh well, mind you, I'm not sure there would be an immunity here by Gen 1 logic anyway. Normal is immune to Ghost, but Nightshade affects them. So since the only Dragon type move in Gen 1 was Dragon Rage, Fairy type might not have been immune to Dragon Rage. You might be wondering why I'm musing on this when there's a battle going on. Anyway, Gyarados goes down to Thunderbolt, both Dragonair go down to Ice Beam attacks, Aerodactyl lands Takedown but goes down to Bubble Beam before Dragonite goes down to Ice Beam. Short and sweet. At least he's not a flying type specialist in this game, unlike the sequels. I guess it's just the final fight with the champion then, and I'm ready for Rod. That sounded wrong out loud. Anyway, I predicted this fight would be hard. You decide. Pidgeot goes down to Thunderbolt. Alakazam goes for Reflect. We blast it with Ice Beam, but it survives and counters with Psybeam before we end it with Bubble Beam. Rhydon goes down to Bubble Beam. Gyarados goes down to Thunderbolt. Arcanine goes down to 2 Bubble Beams, making the brave choice to only use Roar and do nothing before Lasty's Venusaur, and we crit it with Ice Beam to enter the Hall of Fame and win the run. I enjoyed this challenge, simpler than I thought it would be in places. That said, I'm glad because the one I have planned for next week will probably be horrible. Next week, I'm going to go back to Gen 2, I'm going to take on Pokemon Silver with just a single Pichu. That is going to suck, I'm sure, but I'm up for the challenge. We did it with Marill, we did it with Larvitar, we did it with Hoothoot, we did it with Togepi. Pichu is worse than all of them, so I guess we'll see how that one goes. Tune in for that one if you want to hear a man in pain and anguish. If you have enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you've got any ideas for future challenges, then don't hesitate to holler. Always interesting to hear what's going through your minds. You can do that via the comments section, via my Twitter, and also I got the Discord set up at last. Links in the description below. So yeah, I'm getting my stuff together. Come by whenever you like, see what's shaking. I wonder if anyone is actually hearing this or if my voice is echoing desolately through the airwaves like the last cry in a dying universe. Anyway folks, on that slightly bleak note, this has been Once and Future Gamer. This has been Pokemon Red with a single Clefairy, and this is the end. Au revoir, dear viewers, and see you next time. Bye-bye now.